Last year, as we preview the Cincinnati Bengals 2025 season, let's remember where they left off last year. 9-8 for the second straight season. They missed the playoffs. And on top of that, we got the delight as football fans of watching them watch themselves miss the playoffs in Week 18 when they had to watch the Broncos beat up on the eighth stringers of the Kansas City Chiefs. Wasn't that a delight, CK?
Yeah, the Chiefs were afraid of Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that was it.
They did not want to put up a fight and risk allowing Cincinnati in the NFL playoffs.
Yes, because they're the first. The Chiefs, did you hear this? Are the first team that had the 1 seed locked up in the history of the NFL that rested their starters in Week 18. It was actually in the Guinness World Record book. Also last year, you know what actually is a first in the NFL? The Bengals had the sack champion in Trey Hendrickson, the receiving triple crown, and the passing yards and passing touchdown leaders when it's Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. All of that was going for them, but they still missed the playoffs. First time in NFL history that happened. And the answer for Zach Taylor was to fire Lou Anarumo, who was one of the most prestigious, renowned masterminds of calling defensive plays. So what were the 3 off-season moves? As we do the Teddy Two-A-Days and preview the 2025 season, we got to look back at the summer. Top 3 off-season moves for the Bengals.
Number 3.
Well, you know, last year, remember when Bengals cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt said that the Washington offense was a college offense? He was like, Jaden Daniels, they look cool. It's a college offense, though. We'll figure it out. Well, remember, they lost that game. And then the Bengals respond by getting themselves a college defensive coordinator. Welcome, Al Golden. Congratulations, Bengals fan, for Cam Taylor-Britt. Maybe now you can stop college offenses in 2025. Though they really didn't stop any offenses. We'll see how Al Golden pans out as defensive coordinator. What about their next offseason move?
Number 2.
They draft Shamar Stewart, number 17 overall, and then eventually signed him. After a weird war of words and negotiations out in public, eventually signed the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. But I do like seeing them spend a priority pick on the defensive side of the ball. It will suit them well if he can suit up and play in an impactful way.
Number 1.
They re-up Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. These were the 2 most impactful decisions they made, and they made them unilaterally because these guys share an agent. Jamar Chase, highest paid receiver in the history of the league, $40.25 million a year. T. Higgins, the highest paid number 2 in the NFL at $28 a year. They have 2 of the top 10 highest paid receivers in the league right now. They invested so much in their wide receiver room, and I guess that's because they don't have good quarterback play?
No, they have a pretty good quarterback.
Oh. Well, because all the other elite quarterbacks in the league tend to not pay top dollar at receiver, but I guess that, I don't know. Joe Burrow. Oh, Joe Burrow is their guy. Well, at least he's taking a bargain.
No, he's getting paid a lot of money.
Right. And that is why we got to go to the fan feeling wheel. We crank up the fan feeling wheel, and I tell you how Bengals fans are feeling heading into the 2025 season. What's that? Helpless? It stopped on helpless.
Whoa.
But why would a team?
I calibrated
so much
it before
talent.
the show. No.
Yeah.
This thing it's on a level playing field. It checks out.
Helpless. Well, that's the Bengals fan situation right now because it feels like the same old story. Sure, it's going to be a lot of fun watching them throw the ball all over the yard, but did they address the issues that prevented them from winning last year? I don't see the signs of it. They were a 9-win team last year. Do you want to hear their Hard Rock bet win total going into this year?
If I were to guess, and I did not look at this before the show, I think they're going to give them 10.5.
9.5.
Okay.
9-win team last year. You do nothing to improve the emphasis of your issues that we all agreed upon. And that's why Hard Rock Bet is saying, 9.5. 9.5.
I feel like such a big jump. For
What do you
some
mean?
reason, going from 9.5 to 10.5 feels like
It's
a
huge.
bigger jump than going from 10.5 to 11.5.
That's because you got to win 11 games. And this is a team that went back-to-back years winning 9 games. By the way, fun fact for the Bengals, they won 9 games last year. Joe Burrow played all 17. The year before, remember everybody blamed the Bengals not making the playoffs on the fact that Joe Burrow was injured for 7 games.
He showed off the bus with a cast on or whatever on his wrist.
Yeah, he missed 7 games in 2023. And everybody said, oh, no, we can't count the Bengals missing the playoffs that year because Joe Burrow was He missed 7 games with injury. You want to know how many games they won despite missing Joe Burrow for 7 games?
How many?
9. They won 9 games back-to-back years. Apparently, Joe Burrow's presence doesn't really matter that much. Jake Browning is a sufficient insertion for the Bengals offense. These are the facts. I'm not being a jerk right now. These are the facts. That's why fans feel helpless right now. Also because their team is absolutely cheap. Let's go right to the Teddy tiers. The Teddy tiers, this is where I tier the football teams in the National Football League. I tell you where they belong amongst their peers. There are the Big Steppers. Those are the championship contenders. Then you got the nominees. Those are the teams that'll be around in the end. The fun guys, the scrappy dogs, and no motion. Well, those kind of lay themselves out to you. Here it is. The Cincinnati Bengals. Can you pull them up there for me, C-Cat? Past, no motion. They've got some motion. They're not just scrappy dogs. They're a good out. In fact, they're a fun out. The Cincinnati Bengals are right with the Broncos as fun guys. They are an absolute thrill to turn on your television and watch. You're going to draft a lot of their players in fantasy football. But when it comes to actually competing in the playoffs and contending for a championship, they are going to be an absolute no-show, just like they have been for the past 2 years. Do not fool yourselves into thinking that this is the title contender because 4 years ago they made it to the playoffs and Joe Burrow got a win against Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. That team had a great defense, not an elite defense. They had a great defense, and they made an impossible stop against Mahomes in that overtime. I say impossible because we've never seen that happen since. That defense ain't there to save Joe Burrow no more. Zach Taylor is actually a little bit nervous, shaking in his boots by firing Lou Anarumo. So let's go ahead and get to our prediction now that we know what tier the Cincinnati Bengals are in. In 2025, the Bengals will finish, you guessed it, 9-8. Back-to-back years. Just like the Cowboys went 12-5 in 3 straight years, the Bengals are going to go 9-8 in 3 straight years. This is my storyline coming out of this season. Not that he deserves it, but Zach Taylor's going to get the axe. They're going to go 9-8. In less than a week after the season closes on Black Monday, Zach Taylor is going to be fired, and the Bengals are going to be looking for that next guy. I don't want him to lose his job, but I do believe the inability for this organization to get out of its own way, to build up that defense, and the toughness of the AFC North is going to end up weighing against how good of a head coach Zach Taylor is. He's going to be a surprise fire of the season. The Bengals will miss the playoffs for a 3rd straight year. And guess what the NFL execs and GMs are going to do next year anyway?
What?
They're going to rank Joe Burrow ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Because they just love the guy. Doesn't he look so good with a cigar in his mouth? That's Teddy Two-A-Days. That is the prediction for the Bengals in 2025. And again, the Bengals fans today, they feel helpless. And it's because those stripes ain't going nowhere. That's your team.